If you own a 6G Bronco that has the capable bumper like mine did, and you're looking to swap over to a modular bumper, stick around and let me show you some things that I discovered that might make your swap a lot easier. Quick disclaimer for you. I don't know what I'm doing half the time, but I figured this out. In order to make this work, I'm switching from the capable bumper using the capable front bumper wiring harness on a modular bumper. You have to completely disassemble both bumpers. So I'll show you a few things that caught me off guard and what made something that should have been a one-day project turn into a week. So stick around. Obviously, after removing the capable bumper and disassembling it, you have to carefully remove the wiring harness. And I'm not going to go into great detail on how to do that because I don't have a harness to be able to show you how to do it. All right, guys, this is a bumper that a buddy of mine gave to me. I didn't end up using it, but I'm going to use it to kind of show you the issues that I had rather than try to disassemble the bumper that I've already kind of completed. This one's kind of put together. I tried to start this video earlier and it just didn't work out. So we're going to do it again. I've got the brackets on the back here just to kind of show you that these are the brackets here that will attach to the frame of the Bronco. And these brackets that run underneath the top of the bumper, these are an integral part of it. And I'll explain more about that in just a minute. There, I've removed those frame mounted brackets. These internal brackets, there are 4 bolts along the bottom and 3 bolts along the top that hold them in. Hopefully that, going slow enough for you to be able to see that. I'm going to remove those, but before I do, I'm kind of going to show you something. As you look down along here, this is where the inside sensor mounts are at, and the other one resides out here underneath this bracket. And so you can see there's no access. There's no way to get to that. Okay, so I've removed all the bolts from just the passenger side bracket, and so as you see, it just kind of lifts out of it. And then you'll notice your sensor location on the outside of the one that was blocked by that bracket. Now, one of the main issues that I had and gave me the hardest time with this transformation from one bumper to the other was these sensors. In my capable bumper, and this may not be the same one you have in yours, but the wiring harness plugs into the back. And so when it plugs in, it sticks out about that far off the top of it. And so with this plugged in, and this is probably not the correct orientation, but I'll put it in, there's just no way for this bracket to fit over the top of it. With just the bracket and just the sensor, it's okay until you add that wiring harness. And so what we ended up doing after many trial and error solutions is we took a bandsaw and we just cut along this crease here to about here, down and across, to give us a slot to be able to fit over the top of this sensor. Now, at the time, what I could have done and what I probably should have done, and what I would recommend to you if you're doing this, is I should have just went to Ford or maybe online and bought a modular bumper wiring harness and the 4 sensors to go with this, because they are, and I'll put an illustration up to show you the different type of sensor that comes with those. The sensors that I'm talking about, they mount from the side. I'm not sure if I'm showing that well enough, but I don't really have one of them to show you yet. It's on my other bumper. Maybe I can kind of show you a top view of it, but had I just bought those, this would have been a plug and play. They would have just laid in. You could have put the harness all the way across, but you still would have had to run the harness underneath all this bracketry. And I don't know if that's how it's supposed to go or not. I ended up, after cutting it and making room for it, just running the harness on the outside of those brackets. If you're not running a winch, well, then these are kind of blocked. And although it will work with the wiring harness plugged into these center positions, it was kind of crimping down on it, and I was afraid it would probably damage the wires. And so, yeah, best bet for you to do is to buy those side-mounted harness sensors. One last thing I did want to point out is, if you see the notches that are in these holes for the sensor retainers. Every one of these on for the Raptor modular bumper, for the modular bumper that goes on any other model, and for the capable bumper, they're all different. They all have different notches. Why Ford did that, I have no idea. It doesn't make any sense. But even my local Ford dealership couldn't tell me what the part numbers were for a Raptor bumper. And so I had to do some extensive research to find out. They kept trying to refer me just to the one for a regular modular bumper, and they would not fit with those slots. So just note that may be an issue if you want to replace these. Here's a picture I found on the internet that shows the difference between the sensors. Here's an illustration I was able to find, and I was able to look up the part numbers for everything you might need. This was my main problem. I was not aware that there was a different type of sensor, and nothing I found on the internet kind of pointed to that. The other thing that gave us a lot of trouble was routing the wiring harness. It just seemed to be too short. It didn't want to fit across the entire bumper. I tried to run it in from the ends, from the outside here. That didn't work. And so making those cuts did help quite a bit. But again, I had to be creative with where I put that harness. Once you put these internal brackets back on, you kind of have to be careful of how you do it because you can pinch those wires. And so just if you do this, just be careful on how you do it. And just remember, you kind of have to be careful where you route up the main harness of the wiring harness to go into the main body of the Bronco. And so one of the things that delayed me was the lights for the Raptor bumper with those rigid lights. They won't directly work with the wiring harness. You have to buy adapters. And if I can dig those part numbers up, I'll throw them in the description. There's probably many different options out there for these wiring adapters and for fitter switch wiring, but I found these guys and they were great to work with. Um, I was able to run them to the regular headlight switch with those adapters, and the two inside ones I ran to the number 3 upfitter switch in the Bronco. And so with both on, I mean, they're not impressive or anything. They're okay. It puts out adequate light. One day I may upgrade and get something different, but hey, if you have any questions about this install, if you have issues, feel free to reach out and I'd be happy to help you. And again, I wish I had the patience to videotape it while I was doing it, because what I thought was going to be very simple turned out to be quite the headache. Hey, so here's our finished product. I think it turned out beautiful. As you can see, this bumper is so much nicer than the capable bumper. Lastly, I just kind of want to show you these sensors with the side mount for the harness. As you can see, there's really no room between the sensor and the winch there. And if trying to use that rear mounted or rear mount for the harness, it's just not going to work. Hey, if you like today's video, I ask that you please hit the like button and please subscribe. I promise we've got a lot of great content coming in the future.